Part 2, page 358. Are you nervous about the tournament? She asked me as we pulled out. Robert is undefeated in the class. Mr. LeBlanc did not tell you that. She frowned at the road. Mr. LeBlanc says only what he thinks is important, she replied at last. So he must not think that Robert's strength is that important. Mr. LeBlanc doesn't get beaten by Robert every week. She smiled. Strength alone guarantees nothing, Patrick. If this Robert boy has no style, then it's only a matter of time until you defeat him. I shrugged. I'll help you, she said at last. Yes, she nodded. Suddenly resolute. I will help you. Then she said no more. That afternoon I came home and did the breakfast dishes, and Mrs. Strand came and helped start dinner, then left. At 5 o'clock, Mom came in. Patrick, what's this? She asked. Put on your gear quickly. We only have an hour. But Mom, do it, Patrick. Hurry down. I ran upstairs and put on my gear. When I came down, she had pulled most of the furniture out of the living room and into the dining room and the small hallway. This is not a big room, she said. Okay, pause here. Patrick's living room, we can safely say, is small because his mom says this is not a big room and because she had to pull out a lot of furniture outside the room. My question for you is, how do you think, in your prediction, how do you think Patrick's mom is going to help him? Make some guesses. Tell them to me. All right, let's see who's right. I saw to my astonishment that she was wearing a fencing outfit. But it is almost regulation length. We shall practice as best as we can. You fenced? The jacket's mine. The rest is your father's. And yes, for a while I fenced. But most important, I watched your father when he fenced, and I can judge you correctly and test your strength. We slipped our helmets on and saluted each other. Hesitant, I took the offensive and lunged at her. She parried with a clack of foil against foil and tapped me on the chest. We cannot fence nonstop for an hour, she said. You will let me attack. Defend as best as you can. All right. She beat my blade and knocked it away just enough so that she slipped in and hit me again. Ah, this is where you are weak. Hold your foil closer. Do not extend the arm so much. Better, she said as she tried again. Be ready, Patrick, to slip under my foil with your own if you see that I am about to beat my blade against yours. Avoid it if you cannot parry. She thrust at me again and again, varying her attack, sometimes beating, sometimes pressing, or gliding on my foil. We sparred until my hand was numb. Only a half hour had gone by. Wait, I gasped, pulling off my mask. She pulled off her mask and collapsed into one of the chairs that she had pulled to the side. Perhaps, she said, puffing. A half hour is enough for the first day, eh? Dad came home a little later. He had just enough time to eat and talk a little, and then it was back to class until 9 o'clock. Okay, pause here for a second. We know that Patrick has class in the evenings because it's evening by the time that he has to go to class, right? He has class until 9 p.m., so it shows that he has class in the evening. You seem tired out, son, he said. Patrick and I have been practicing for the tournament, Mom said. Ah, he raised his eyebrows at her. And how does your mother fence, son? He asked without looking at me. Very well, Dad. He glanced at me. If you don't want to be in the tournament, Patrick, you should tell us, he said sternly. I want to fence, I said. It's just that fencing meant so much to me, son. I don't want you to think that you must fence to please me. He nodded. Well then, back to class for me. I'll be home later. Okie dokie. Click pause here and try to answer the questions on page 139. You can use the notes we took and then resume the video to go over the answers. Great. Circle the letter of each picture that can match the setting described in the story. The fencing gym. Which one did you pick? I picked A, and I'll explain why. First, I'd like you to tell me why you picked A. What evidence or details from the story support your choice? Meaning, maybe you found a specific quote, or maybe you saw a picture in the story, or maybe on page blank, they give you the exact answer. What is your proof that your answer is correct, basically? Okay. I said on page 353, the picture shows the student holding foils. And picture A contains foils, the swords, while picture B does not. So I'll show you. Page 353, you can clearly see the boys holding the foils. It even talks about foils in here, so we know that the fencing gym should have foils. What'd you say for the living room of Patrick's house? I said A. Can you tell me why you picked your answer? Okay, so the evidence that I found was on page 358. Patrick's mom says this is not a big room, right? So this room is clearly a lot smaller than that one. I'll show you. Right here. So this is how you find text evidence, boys and girls. You just look for details that support your answer. What'd you say for 1? Did Patrick have any brothers or sisters? No, very good. We kind of talked about that already. Are there any girls in his class? No. Do you think that he lives in the country, far from people, or in the city? Or close to the city? Why do you think that? I said close to the city because if you think about a city, even in Seoul or other cities in Korea, like Busan, etc., there are classes that you can take, and you can also go to offices. And his dad works at as a law clerk. He goes to school. He can go to classes, etc. So it kind of shows that he's from close to the city. Did Patrick have his fencing class in the morning, afternoon, or evening? Evening! Yes, we talked about that as well. All right, great job, guys. I know this class was longer than usual, but I hope that you enjoyed it and that you learned a little bit about finding evidence. And yeah, take a break, and I'll see you in spelling. Bye!